Hey, this is Alec. Welcome to White Whale Comics. Content creation on YouTube is something that I'm brand new to. So I apologize if this turns out to be a complete disaster. I'm going to try to keep it at like partial disaster, but I think that might be the best we can hope for. Um, my intention for this first video is just to kind of share my hopes for the channel. And really what I want to use it for is to just create a community. Or at least contribute to a community that already exists. Another comic YouTuber by the name of Regie SImmons, who I'll link in the description below, makes a lot of great comic content. If you don't follow him already, I highly recommend you do. In a recent live stream, he said something to the effect of, for him, YouTube has taken what's traditionally considered a pretty lonely hobby and turned it into something that's a community. And when I started thinking about starting this channel, that is what came to mind. Not only being part of a community, but helping to create a community, a place where we can all discuss this hobby that we're so passionate about. And I want it to evolve and metamorphosize. Is that a word? That's not a word. To change and grow and become whatever it is that it decides that it wants to be, and what you decide you want it to be, and what I decide I want it to be. So it's really something that I want to be fluid. But one thing that I do want to do is just share books, either from my personal collection or books that are outside of my personal collection that maybe I am looking to get, that I think are noteworthy or cool or for some reason worth talking about. Maybe it's because it's a great story, or maybe because it's just a rad cover, or maybe it's for personal sentimentality. And I have 3 books here that are the 3 books that I remember most vividly from my childhood. They are not in great shape, to be generous, and are really not worth anything, but even though they're worthless, they're priceless, if that makes sense. I would never replace them, I would never upgrade them. They're staying in my personal collection for as long as I have it, and that's because of the emotional attachment I have to them. And I'm sure we all have books like that. I'm curious what yours might be. So I invite you to leave that in the comments below. See if we share any of these by chance. The first one is Fantastic Four number 265. It's from April 1984. Story and art by John Byrne. And it's the first comic I remember buying. I remember buying it with my dad off a wire rack. And the reason it's so beat up, as you can see, is I read it so many times because I loved it. And there's certain damage to books that are really non-starters for me when buying books, such as rust, water damage, pencil marks, stuff like that. But there's a certain history and a certain life to books when they have, some wear that shows that they've been loved and read. And this is definitely a book that I love. And to start off my first book ever with a John Byrne book, who arguably is one of the greatest creators of that era, off to a good start. Next book was so close to being something really special. It's Amazing Spider-Man 291. Just a few months away from 300, which you can probably see behind me. I do own, but probably better off that I didn't get it when I was a kid, because again, this thing is chewed up. Black Suit Spider-Man, awesome when I was a kid. Art by J.R.J.R. Another all-time great. Maybe I had better taste in comics when I was a kid than I do now. And the last book is the book that really I remember most vividly. And it's the book that made me fall in love with a superhero, and that is Detective Comics number 579. Batman is my number one guy, and reading this book, he was just such a presence, and seemed so badass compared to the more lighthearted books that I had seen before. And at the end, this doctor dude who Batman has been fighting just gets his hands annihilated by this fire extinguisher, and it just like was one of those moments as a kid where you're both horrified and fascinated, and it captured my imagination. Is that weird? I don't know, but yeah, 3 books that are really mean something to me personally. Really going to try to stay away from spec and hype on this channel, not because I'm not interested in it, but mostly because I think there are other content creators who are doing it better than I'd be able to do it and have more insight. So I figure I just leave it to the professionals, but some might slip in there. But as you can see by the books I shared today, those are definitely not hype books. So that's about all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you let me know what you want to see in the future. Thanks for watching.